All right, we are live. Let's jump to this game. So we're playing Algorithm, and he plays e4. And what should I play against him? Maybe I'll play c5. Um, let's think though for a second. Maybe he has something prepared. Yeah, I feel comfortable playing c5 here, so let's go. Okay, so knight f3. Do I go for some d6 line? Or knight f6? I think I'll play d6. See what lines he decides to go into. Take, take. Let's check the live stream as well, see if everything is good. Okay. Let's check the live. All right, looks good. So he goes knight d4, start with knight f6. Knight c3. So I could play a classical here, e6. I could play the Najdorf as well. And I'm really curious what he has in store. I think I want a fighting match today, so I'm thinking I want to play the Najdorf, but do I want to keep things steady and calm? Okay, let's keep things a little bit steadier and calm. Classical Sicilian. Okay, he goes bishop e5, which isn't that. I mean, it's reasonable, but what's the big deal? So does he take with the bishop, give me the bishop pair? What's his plan? Is he gonna go bishop g5? I don't think I mind this trade so much because I can take with the pawn and build my pawn center. I could also take with a bishop as well, but okay, just castles. And he castles kingside as well. So should I fianchetto my bishop and play g6 is the question. Or play e6. E6 definitely playable here. And g6. I think g6, f4, bishop g7. I mean, it looks fine, but g6, bishop g5, bishop g7. If he takes, knight d5. I can always come back. I do like the dragon setups. Is there any reason not to play g6 here? e6 is probably good as well, controlling the d5 square, but I don't see a problem with either of the two. g6 takes here. g6, maybe he wants to go f4. Bishop g7 takes e5 maybe. Yeah, so g6 f4. Bishop to g7. Takes e5. Takes e5. I can take once. Takes. Go knight to g4. Looks okay. Yeah, I think it's fine. g6. Seems a bit slow, but looks super safe as well. I lack some center control here, and even if I play e6, I still lack a bit of center control. Okay, g6. Um, okay, so I could go knight g4 here. Just gonna check something for a second. See if this person's online playing his match. Okay, so let's think. I guess just bishop g7. some absent people today from the league. Now I can hopefully have 100% focus on this match. Okay, so what do we have here? I expect kind of like queen d2 maybe. Then I could take on d4. Don't really want to though. Trade off the dark squared bishops. It looks super solid for me. At some point I could go knight g4. Probably I should castle first. Knight g4, knight takes, maybe even bishop takes, and queen takes g4, for example. I don't know, like he makes a move. And okay, maybe not f4. Like maybe queen d2, I have knight g4. But then takes bishop here is maybe possible. It's interesting. Then e5, I think, looks strong. Let's say like king h1, for example. Knight to g4. The question is, can I do this? Just curious. Takes. Yeah. Not ideal. So, probably just castles. Let's see what he does. Yeah, queen d2, kind of expected. So I could castle. If bishop here, I could take. So let's castle. So if bishop here, I take. And if knight takes, I take. And if bishop here, I take. Queen takes, I take. And if bishop here, I take. Knight takes. I take. 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 And take. I think I'm up a piece there. Yeah, so bishop h6, not playable at the moment, I don't think. You could go f4. Knight g4. Okay, he doesn't have a threat, but he's super solid here. Takes. Guess I'll take with the bishop. Sorry, the pawn. Hitting the bishop. Alright, bishop c4. I mean, my position's just so solid here. Maybe I can go a5. Or queen a5. I wonder if I can do this too. I don't think it works, but maybe it's an idea in the future. Queen a5, he can even play knight d5. So, Okay, one thing I could do is go knight to g4. Try to get the two bishops. Bishop d4. I could go e5. Bishop comes back. I take. So knight g4. He could go bishop g5. h6. Bishop f4. e5. Bishop to g3. All right, we're getting low on time, so we have to make a decision. I think just going for the bishop makes the most sense. I don't want this weakness though. But knight g4, bishop here, here. Here I take.
Yeah, can you please join the game?
Yeah. They're in the games.
All right, let's go knight g4. Let's give him some problems to solve. Put the timer on him. So if bishop f4, I could play knight to e5. And queen here, knight e5. Maybe possible take here. So queen a5, knight e5, take here, takes. It's interesting as well, but I just have this weak pawn. Bishop here, pawn to e5, bishop to g3. Maybe bishop e6 there. If takes, rook d1, pawn d5 is a move. Just interesting. Pawn d5, h3, knight f6, my pawn on. Okay, he allows this, which is very surprising, because I will take the bishop pair. Has to take with the queen. And queen v6. Really, I don't mind this endgame. My bishop is such a monster, and I am attacking the pawn as well, so expect him to take and get a very nice structure with this bishop and rook being opened up. I'll have to check afterwards, like if knight g4 was anything, but this just looks great for me. It's so difficult for white to find any weakness. I have b5. I even have bishop take sometimes. Like even takes. And rook here looks very tempting. I just don't want to get my rook trapped. Like rook d4, I have c5, which wins. Ah, rook d4, c5, he takes. Okay, so I am threatening this. Takes. Here, if rook d4, I can play b5. Takes. Okay, I could go for this. Bishop moves this. Yeah, what is he planning with this move? So awkward. So b5, bishop to b3, pawn b4. Knight e2 I take, knight a4, knight a4. I play c5, he goes knight to b6, or I could just go rook here. Maybe I can start with rook here as well, and if he goes b3, I trap the bishop. Rook here, a4 maybe he wants, then b5 anyways. Takes. Yeah, I probably b5 first. Force the bishop back. Okay. So if his knight moves, I go c5, and it makes a lot of sense to be prepared to go rook b8, so b4, knight here. Ah, maybe b4, knight here, pawn c5, threatening pawn c4. He goes knight b6. Yeah, I don't want to allow knight to b6, so b4, actually, he can go here as well. b4, knight a4, rook b8. So b4, knight a4, rook to b8. His knight's trapped, isn't it? So he has to go knight t1. And then pawn c5. I really want pawn c5 immediately, but he has... I can never push e6. Okay, rook to b8. Keep the position flexible. Also ask him a question. Doesn't have any threats. A3. Okay. I could just play B4 here. Take, take. And then some move like bishop to E6. That looks very, very promising. B4, takes, takes. So B4, takes, takes. Hmm. I feel like there's something really strong here. So my idea is takes, takes. Bishop to E6, takes, takes. He goes pawn B3. I have rook A2 there at least. I could also go bishop F8 and go E6 and D5. And if takes, takes. But what am I doing there? Okay. So B4, let's go. Thanks. Let's take. I control the A file, which is nice. So if I trade bishops, I can go rook A2. But bishop E6, he takes, takes, and goes B3. Oh, I'm threatening to take the knight and take the pawn. Bishop takes and takes and takes. Also looks really good too. So maybe he has to go pawn F3 here. Let's see. If pawn F3, I could insert a check, forcing the king away. So he goes F4, but takes, takes, I win a pawn. And actually I can force his king away first. Check here, takes, takes, and takes, wins a pawn. Yeah, that just looks good for me. Wins a pawn, like what more can I want there? So let's give a check. Let's take. Takes with the rook, and take. So yeah, I'm up a pawn. He has f5 here, but can I go rook f4? And if he takes, I back row. So f5. Oh wait, f5 I just take with the bishop even, but f5 I have rook f4 maybe as well. And if he takes, I give it check. Wow. Opens up his king. This I don't like for him. So this, I guess he wants to make some room for his king. I can shut out the bishop, which makes a lot of sense. And this bishop is a dead piece. But then how do I convert this? I could start with bishop to h3 as well. Then this pawn's a bit weak. And rook to e2, he also has this move. So bishop here, rook here, d5, he takes, rook here. If I can get bishop h3, I think I'm doing really well. So maybe I start with this, but then he goes bishop here. So I can shut out the bishop first, but then king g2. Okay, here. I can give a check, I guess. So d5. d5, there's no sack. It shuts out the bishop permanently. Just looks like a good move overall. So now I want bishop h3. Rook e... but then my pawn on c6 becomes a bit weak. Yeah, I think maybe the plan is just e6, and then... Or maybe rook a6. I really want, like, e6, rook a5, pawn c5, pawn c4. Anyways, let me go to the washroom. Be right back. Okay. So rook d1. I guess the threat is to take, but could just go rook to e2 here, which looks really good. Also, I could just block everything and go e6 and keep everything like super solid. And I always have rook e2. This move looks very annoying for him practically, even though it does block my bishop, which I don't like. But I don't think he can sack, right? Like, sorry, rook here. There isn't any takes. That just loses like the whole boat. So yeah, I don't think he has anything here. So let's improve my position. Rook e2. And I could potentially do this as well. Takes check here. Okay, maybe for the moment I can make lots of improving moves, like king g7, h5, and just kind of sit and wait, continue to improving, and he doesn't really have anything to do. Maybe he wants to go rook d3 and rook d2. Which is very reasonable. Rook c5, okay. So this, I think, he wants to go, what, pawn to c3? But that hangs b2. Maybe pawn c4, but I just take... This doesn't look good. Not really sure what this move does. Okay, let's go king g7. Rook takes, takes, takes. I mean... Unless he wants to sack, but I think that just loses material. You get 2 pawns, but in this position, I don't think it's good at all. Okay. So he's trying to find something constructive, I think, by his time usage. Maybe I can go h5, h4, bring the rook here. That should be, like, really, really deadly. Okay, so king here, I just go back, and he goes back, and I can always move my rook to safety. Okay, so let's think. If king here I take, that's a pawn. He goes back, I go back, he goes back, and then maybe rook e3. But I don't think I need to move just yet, so let's start with h5 then. Can't be a bad move. Take, 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 take. Let's see, let's see. So I guess h4 will be played here. Yeah. So h4 is played. I could start with rook a6, holding onto the pawn this way, so my bishop can do something else. I can also go e5. Switch plans entirely. Hmm. Maybe I can run my king all the way over as well. King here. Or go the other way. Here, 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 here. Here. If I get c4 in, it's game over. Pawn to e6. Super, super solid, yeah? And if king here, rook e4. Okay, so I guess I should start with rook a6. Just overprotecting everything. And if king here, I have bishop here. Okay. So rook a6, pawn c4, I take, he takes. I take, he takes, I take, wins. There might be some problem with this, but I always have e6 if needed. And also the e4 square. So let's start with rook a6. Now my bishop is free to move, which is great. Oh wait, did I blunder this? I guess I have this at least. That's quite interesting. Takes, takes. I think I did. I blundered this. Bishop c4. Oh wait, I just take. And if takes, I go mate. So I didn't blunder it. Missed it though at first. Bishop c4, I just take. He has some back row issues. So king here, I can defend, and bishop c4, I just take. Yeah. Oh, but maybe bishop c4, I take king here. Then yeah. So this side planned just to move bishop c4. And there's no bishop c4, I just take. Rook takes, I take. Bishop c4. Maybe he goes rook e1 though. Yeah, rook e1, probably a good move here. Trying to trade. Okay. So I could take. And I have to react to this. My rook is under attack. And the pawn is also under attack. Don't have check. King would take. So take. I guess king here. Or pawn e6. Take, here, 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 and here. And how do I break that? Maybe I take. And I don't go e6. And I plan for f6, e5. But I could run the king this way actually, and the king can just improve quite a bit first. King f6, rook c3. Oh, does he want to play pawn c4 here? Is the question. F6, c4, e6 takes. And maybe I can get my king to g4. Okay, so king f6, and then maybe e5. Pawn c4, I guess just e6 maybe. Oh, pawn c4, I have rook. King f6, pawn c4, rook here, he takes, I take, he takes. I always come back. So I can start with this. But pawn c4, rook here, he goes here. I want like complete control in this position. I guess pawn c4, yeah, pawn c4. I could play d4, which makes no sense here. d4, if I go here, he goes here, I go here. Can even play pawn c5 there. Okay, so I think e6 is the way to go. I could take, but I think I'm still shutting out his bishop. Which probably is a bit annoying for him. And if he takes, I could take either way, but probably taking this way. Okay, so king goes up, which is generally good. King here, takes here. c3, then I push. Looks like a good plan. And he has weaknesses here, so if I can defend the pawn, my rook could swing around, which would be a huge problem for him. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Attack the rook. Now his rook is trapped. That's not ideal for him at all. If king here, I have this. And if takes, I push. Takes, and I think his rook is lost there. Yeah, so this doesn't look good because the rook's trapped. Like f6, he takes. I give a check. Takes. f6. Okay, let's calculate. Let's take some time. So f6, he takes. I give a check. He takes. I take. I think f6 just wins here. Yeah, huge mistake. Bishop here. Still go e5. F here, I go e5. But I push. Take. Check. King has to go here. I give check. Okay. Yeah, good game. Let's check this for a second. So yeah, I wasn't really sure in the opening, like after knight g4 right away was better, but okay, takes. And I really wasn't sure. Queen b8 says, but black is even slightly better. And this trade, for sure, this trade gets a huge advantage for black. Because I get the open a file. Pawn c5 was good. This is fine, though. c5 I didn't understand, because I give away the square. But I guess the idea is you go e6. You're threatening this. So c5 was definitely missed. And I didn't want to give away any squares. But after here, e6 is coming. Maybe bishop f8 idea. And b4. So b4 slight error. Takes. Check. And then this was nice, winning a pawn. Rook e2, king g7, rook a6 was better to start with. Well, I could have kept the rook on the board, but I don't understand why. Why do I allow this? Oh, checkmate. I always had a checkmate. And if rook comes back, bishop h3. Miss this. e6. And that's game. Alright. Let's play again. And we're playing as white. So I won positionally. He also didn't take a lot of risks that game. So I think that same kind of style will work again, hopefully. Let's go c4. e6. Let's go knight f3 or g3. Let's play knight f3. Okay, he goes b6, and I could play a3 here. just taking away some squares. Could also go g3 as well. Let's go. Maybe he wants to go bishop a6 as well. G3, bishop a6. So I think I'm fine with. But we'll play a little bit slower this game. So bishop a6. Okay, he goes bishop e7 anyways. So I could go knight c3 or g3 here. Knight c3, knight to e4. G3 takes. Maybe just g3. Yeah, it seems a bit slow with this setup. Knight c3. Knight c3. Knight e4. a3. So maybe just g3 then, if d5. Okay, let's try. Yeah, d5, so I can take bishop g2, he takes. I have a check and I could take. I think I want to take and kind of ask him how is he going to take back. Okay, so bishop g2 has to be played here. Yeah, I think black is completely fine here. And I have a3, which I don't even know if it's useful. So start with a check as well. Ask him what is he gonna do? A knight to e5 maybe. So knight to e5 maybe. Castles, knight here, takes. That looks interesting. I think it makes sense to get two bishops here. I don't have any development, but going for the two bishops probably is reasonable. Yeah, he goes for this. I'll take. I'll take. Let's go knight c3, holding the pawn. And I have the bishop. I have the dark squared bishop, so see if I can use it. Okay, so let's just castle. Um, okay, so knight to e4. This does allow me to capture, and the pawn has to take. which I don't think is best for him. But does he want to take? Yeah, he just wants to take, so I could take. And what does that position look like? After pawn takes, I could go e3. Knight e5 doesn't work, but maybe, potentially. I could also go knight e1, which looks ridiculous. And bishop to f4, takes. He can't take here just yet, but he has pawn c5. So, maybe bishop f4, takes. But I don't want to allow this. Takes. Pawn is actually quite annoying in my position. I can also take with a bishop, which really doesn't make sense either. So bishop f4 hits the pawn, knight takes, pawn takes, knight f6 maybe. Knight to b5 is also a move, but then bishop b5. Okay, so the pawn is still not really in danger. So bishop f4 takes. I get my weakened structure, but maybe I can play c4 there. So bishop f4 takes, knight f6, pawn c4, maybe pawn c6. Pawn c. Oh, wait. So bishop f4, knight takes, pawn takes, knight f6. Pawn c4, he has queen takes. Then I take here. He gets take here, I guess. Take, and then bishop f4. Maybe he can play f3 at some moment, but I don't see the point is exactly. Could play f3 straight away. Could also go here. Yep. Okay, so I have the two bishops, but how useful is my dark squared bishop going to be if I take? I really need to make it work. Pawn c5, maybe he can even go. And he might get even a blockade on d5. So I could go knight d1, which looks rather silly, and then f3, knight c3. c5, take. Knight f6. Maybe just rook e1 there. Knight e4. Rook c1. g5. Alright, I think I should take. Okay. And Yeah, bishop f4 seems very direct, but I guess it makes sense. I can always go back to d2. He just has knight f6 though. Knight f6, rook c1, knight e5 even. Bishop f4, knight f6, rook c1, knight e5. e3 is a move as well. Okay, maybe bishop d2 to start with. Bishop d2, pawn c5. Then maybe bishop c3 is possible. Oh, wait a second. Bishop d2, he has this sometimes. But I guess I would just take, or even take here, because I hit the rook. Okay, let's start with bishop d2. I mean, can't be a terrible move. So knight f6. Yeah, c5, I'll go bishop c3. The pawn on a7 is also a little bit of a target too, if the rook ever moves. So pawn c5, bishop c3, he takes. Could take with a queen as well. Then knight f6, which also okay. And if bishop c3, sorry, pawn c5, bishop c3 takes, knight c5 maybe. Knight c5, it's a queen, then queen d4. Pawn to f6. Rook to d1. Rook to d8 maybe. Give a check. Queen probably blocks. So it doesn't look... I mean, it looks interesting, but if he gets f6, it just stops my threats. But maybe I can go like this in the future and keep pressing his king. Okay, so knight f6 is played. And why not rook here? And if knight here... Yeah, rook c1, knight e5 maybe. Okay, I can throw in this move, attacking the queen. But it doesn't seem so useful. I also have bishop g5 as well. And if h6 takes, go here. He goes where? Maybe just rook e7. Okay, let's start with rook here. Then knight e5. Not really sure what to do. Maybe just double e3. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, knight e5. Knight e5. Then e3. But with his knight on d5, my bishop is blocked. How is this good for me? So bishop e4 first makes kind of sense. Hitting his queen. The queen just moves out of the way. f3 is definitely an idea. Takes. But then again, like, my pawn is kind of separated from everything else. Okay, so maybe I go rook d1. And if knight d5, rook c1, e3, I just take. And if knight takes, I take there. So I guess we'll start with rook c1 anyways. Just slightly better for me, but actually, I think black is completely fine here. So if knight d5, rook d1, what's the point of rook d1? Just provoking him a little bit. If he takes, I take. And even there, it doesn't look good. So probably e3 has to be played, which is a very sad move to make. Oh wait, e3 might be... No, it's still not possible. I take with the bishop, and this bishop's defended. But I was thinking e3, I take, he takes here, attacking the rook. And then maybe my plan is to go like rook d1, bishop here, try to double, and take this pawn. Even that probably shouldn't be so bad for him. Okay, what about queen trades? I had the opportunity to go queen b4 after knight d5, I really don't. Knight d5, I could consider bishop f4, takes, and e3. Maybe that's a plan. The bishop isn't so bad, hitting the pawn. So knight e5, bishop f4. He doesn't have to take though. He could go like c6. Okay, so knight d5, rook d1, e3. I take. He takes. I take. He takes. I take. So I could go rook d1, kind of provoking e3. But if I take, he takes the bishop. Yeah, so knight d5, rook d1, e3, I take. I also have f3 at some point. So let's think. Knight d5, rook d1, e3 I take. If knight takes on e3, I take. Has to take the rook. And maybe let's do it one more time. Knight d5, rook d1, e3, I take. He takes. Doesn't work at all for him. I just take here. But he might want to ruin my structure. And at the right moment, take. which is a good idea for him. Alright, just gonna go to the washroom again. Be right back. Okay. So he's still thinking. Now we'll switch from Gatorade to water. Knight e5. I don't know. Maybe I just double. But then e3 takes, knight takes, hits my rook. Okay. I could go bishop e4 there. Knight e5, bishop e4 is an idea. And if knight takes, take with a queen. And I target the pawn on c7. Plus I have like bishop h3 and you can't go rook c8. So knight e5, maybe I go bishop b4 and I keep the flexibility of the two pawns there. He could always go e3 though, like knight e5, bishop b4, queen g5, for example. And what exactly am I doing there? I go f3 or f4. Okay, let's say f3. He takes, I take, and I have this isolated pawn on d4. Knight d5, bishop e4. Knight takes, queen takes. Queen takes, pawn takes, a5. I take, he takes, rook c7 looks good. But he's not going to go a5. Takes, takes. Rook c8, bishop h3 looks good actually. Oh, but he can go rook d8. Oh, he also has just pawn c6. This that also looks reasonable too. Knight d5, rook d1 was my plan. But maybe I'm thinking like, I don't know. Maybe h4, that just looks really silly as well. So maybe he's afraid of. Okay, so this I did not expect at all, and I guess his idea is e3 or something. This does allow me to play d5. It also allows bishop c3, also allows bishop to b4. So bishop b4, he has to go. But how does he defend the c7 pawn now? Bishop b4, queen f6. I take on c7. Oh, he has to go queen d8. Queen d8. And maybe queen c2. Oh, wait a second. Bishop e4, queen d8. I don't know. Maybe queen here is even slightly better. But then he has queen d7. Okay, what about bishop f4? 1 second. What about bishop f4? What does he do here? c5, I just take. Bishop f4, maybe. If rook c8. I guess it looks slightly better than the other version. Probably bishop e4. I have a feeling like bishop e4. Attacking the queen. And if queen d8. Queen has to go to d8, yeah? But then my pawn on d4 is hanging. So bishop e4, queen d8, rook d1. He has pawn c6. And if bishop f4, what if pawn c6 right away? Just pawn c6. I have nothing, so... And this variation also nothing, and my bishop is like in a very weird square. Bishop b4, queen d8, maybe rook d1 there. c5 I just take. Okay, let's put some pressure on him. Bishop f4 also fine. But this kind of forces his queen away. Has to go to d8. Has to go to d8. My bishop is really not doing anything there. Yeah, bishop f4. Pawn c6. Probably his bishop gets a little bit blocked. Maybe he didn't want that. It's such a weird game at this point. But okay, strategically, looks like a reasonable idea at least. His knight's very misplaced on g4. My queen even lines up with him on this side there. Maybe I don't have to defend d4. Maybe I can do something else, like pawn d5 there. And if bishop takes, then rook d1, pawn c6, I have rook takes. Then he just takes with a bishop, takes, my rook's hanging. I want to play f3, but I don't think it's even in the cards at the moment. So queen d8, rook d1, c6. Then I can play h3, knight f6, and then... Yeah, queen d8, okay. So d5 is a move. Can't play f3 just yet. The pawn is hanging, but do I care about the pawn? Rook d1, queen f6, I have bishop e1 as well. Okay, rook d1, because I want to go d5. That makes sense to me. Here I just takes. I move to the corner. Probably shouldn't be a problem. Oh, wait a second. Queen f6. Bishop e1, e3. I have to go f3 there. Because if I take, he takes. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. So, queen f6. Maybe rook d1. If he takes, I take on here. Rook takes, I guess. Yeah, queen f6. Maybe I could ignore it as well. Probably I shouldn't though. At all. So queen f6 I'm a bit scared of. I have f3 there at least. Then knight e3. So queen f6, bishop e1, e3, f3 maybe. Maybe just f3 there. And then I take on c7. Okay, queen f6, bishop e1 for sure. He has bishop d5. Actually, bishop d5 makes a lot of sense. Yeah, bishop d5 looks quite strong. And then I go here, c6, I maybe sack. Takes, probably not. Bishop d5, actually. Then h3. Knight f6. Queen f6, okay. Queen f6, rook d1, he wants to take. Let's go bishop e1. Queen h6, h3. e3, f3. And if takes here. Maybe he just takes e3. I guess I could take. And if takes, king moves. Rook takes. Yikes. So knight takes. I don't have to take back. I don't have to take back. I could take on c7 first. Or let's, okay, calculate takes. Takes, e3. I take. If he takes with the queen, I move. And his rook is hanging. Rook moves. I come back to f3. E3, f3. Knight here, takes. Good. Probably like something here very strong for black if he finds it. I have d5 though, blocking the bishop as well. Let's see. So I'm kind of afraid of knight takes. Takes, e3. Takes. If pawn takes, I do have king f1 there. I do have king f1. Rook moves, and bishop comes back. If queen here, then king g2. So knight takes, I take. He goes here, I take. He has to take with the queen, probably. King h1, he takes. I go queen here. Looks like I'm holding. Knight takes, e3. I take. He takes. King f1. Rook moves. Knight come back. Okay. If knight takes, e3. Takes. King g2 is also playable there. But then rook takes. I take, he queens. So king f1. E3, I think he'll play. Anyways. And f3. He's getting low on time here, so he's calculating it. So he has to find something, I think. Because I'm taking on c7 if he doesn't. I'm going to kick his knight back. Yeah, now his knight has to go to h6, actually. So he just defends, which is fine. Okay, I think he's fine, but this definitely is an achievement for me. So he wants to go back with knight to f6. Pawn d5 has some sense. Then this pawn's under attack. Like here. If he takes, I can take. Wait a second. Here takes f3. It's interesting. So this move I really didn't expect at all. This gives me a chance to push for something. I like d5. Some reason blocking the bishop makes sense here. d5, the question is, what if bishop takes? d5, bishop takes. f3, he has knight here. d5, bishop takes. Bishop takes. He has pawn c6 at least. Okay, d5 takes. Then bishop here, maybe. Then again, queen f6. But then I take. Here doesn't look good at all again. What if I offer him a queen trade? Take. Will he take it? And then he might just defend. Okay, how do I give him a decision? So here. Queen b4, even c5 is playable there. So d5, I don't know, really don't know about this. But knight is in my territory as well. Knight f6. Queen b4, takes. I can take with a bishop as well. I can start with queen c4, which also prepares d5 a little bit. He goes rook to c8. I can go d5. He has knight to e5. I have... Okay, maybe queen c4 hits the pawn. Pawn c6. Let's go. Queen c4. So I want to play d5 next. Bishop e4 as well. Bishop d5, I take. Yeah, rook c8. So now the question is, can I play this move? d5. Pawn c5, I take. It's a bit risky. I go there. I always have queen a4 back. Bishop b4, maybe. Oh, what about bishop h3? I guess he might go h5. Bishop h3. Is he gonna sack a fool? Bishop h3, h5. Yeah, he just goes h5. Queen b5. g6. e3, I take. Bishop here, bishop d5 maybe. Queen here. Looks a bit scary for him. He also has queen here. d5, knight e5, I take. d5, I'm threatening the pawn. If he goes e3, I take his knight. Pawn c6, I just take. Queen takes. And I take. d5, rook e5, maybe. Yeah, he just goes rook c8. So what if I go bishop h3? What does he play? h5? He goes h5, I go queen b5. He goes bishop d5, I guess. Okay, let's try d5. I think if knight f6 though, knight f6. Knight f6, I go bishop c3, knight takes d5, bishop takes e4. Looks a bit risky as well. Okay, so d5. I think I'm gonna go for it anyways here. So knight f6. I have this. Queen d7. Maybe a mistake. But if he takes with a knight, he's in a pin as well. So knight f6, bishop c3, he takes. I take. And he's in actually two pins, take and take. Yeah, so knight f6, let's go bishop c3. Or do I start with here first? Maybe I start with this move. And if queen d7, then I come back. And if knight takes, then I take. And if bishop here, 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 he moves, I take, takes. Okay, let's start with bishop here, I guess. Bishop here, queen d8. I go here. He takes, I take. c5, I take. I start with bishop here. Bishop takes d5. I guess I take. He takes. Maybe I missed this. So bishop d5, I think I missed. I have to take his queen, probably. He takes. I take. He takes, I take. Take, maybe? Oh, wait a second. I had bishop h3 first. Oh, I had bishop h3. But then bishop d5. Or knight. Yeah, rook. Oh, okay, I missed this. But I think d5 might have fallen anyways. But okay, bishop h3 is an idea. If he doesn't take and he moves his queen, I go bishop h3. He has to take, probably. Queen to a4. Sorry, queen to a6. And yeah, so queen, yeah, so this variation, eh? This variation. So I can take here, but this doesn't work. If I take his queen, he has to take my queen. I take back. I take, he takes, I take. He takes. I take, and take. He has rook c2, I go back row. What if I go here, attacking the pawn? Pawn c5, maybe? Okay, take is very, very forcing. And what is it? Who's better there? So I take, he has to take. What if I just take there? And if bishop takes... Okay, take, take. Take, take, bishop h3. Take, bishop h3, he takes, I go here. Maybe it's interesting. Takes, takes, bishop h3. Take, take. Sorry. Take, take, bishop h3. Okay, I guess we'll try it. But he goes bishop e6. Then I take and take. So take, take. Okay, bishop h3 first, maybe. Where do I take first? Wait, if I take first, he takes. I go here, he has bishop g4. I see, so bishop h3 first. Rook moves, I take. He takes, I take, he takes as well. So take, 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 take. I don't know if I have anything. h6 maybe he goes. Bishop h3. If he takes, I go there. He has bishop g4 there as well. I take, and take. Maybe it's a different variation. Bishop h3, he goes there. Then I take rook c7. Bishop h3, he takes. If I take, he takes. And then I take. Okay, let's try. Let's try bishop h3. So I expect takes, then I take. He has to take the rook, then I take here. Rook d8. I take, rook d8. I guess I take here. And if rook takes... Okay, he goes for this. So, I could go here and he goes there. But I think takes, and takes is the way to go. Okay, let's go for it. Takes. Yeah, so let's take here. I don't think I'm missing anything. It's maybe the best. I can also take, but then he takes here. Okay. So I'm down a pawn. Down a pawn here. But I have two bishops, and his pawn on a7 is about to fall. Okay, pawn push. And I could probably target the pawn. Bishop to e7 is a move, but it allows knight d5. Yeah. Okay, maybe this. Or bishop h3, or bishop e7 maybe. Bishop e7, rook d8. Bishop e7, rook d8, I go there. He goes there, I go there. Knight d5 is also stopped with this move. Okay. Hopefully I'm not missing something. He just goes h6. Yeah, what about this move? Bishop e7. Okay, so knight g4 looks a bit awkward to me. I could attack him first. And then win the pawn. I could win the pawn immediately, actually. So do I go here forcing him away and then take? Or just take right away? Maybe I just take right away. But knight to e5, he wants to hold like this. I feel like forcing him to a square behind his pawn probably makes sense. Yeah, now I take. Knight to e5, do I have f4 maybe? Knight g6. F4 looks kind of good. So knight f3, I don't know about this because what if I go king here? He has this, then I go here. So king here, where does he go? Knight e4. King here, knight here, I go there. He goes there maybe. Knight d4, I go there. Okay, king g2. Let's keep up the pressure. Oh wait, knight here, I have this. What is this move? Can I just go here? Unless I'm missing something. This does nothing. I can just take free piece. Whoa, good game. All right, that was pretty intense. Let's go to the analysis board. I think like so the opening wise, okay, probably g3. It's better, but so take knight e5. Surprisingly, even c6 can be played, which is really odd. Takes because of rook c a, which I missed. Takes knight c6. And knight c3 was better, just improving, allowing the bishop to stay on the board, and I have things locked. But what if, oh, knight takes d5. Bishop c5? What a weird move. And if bishop e3, knight g4, I take. Queen to e6, knight to a5. Takes. That's nuts. That's nuts. Okay, takes. Knight c3. Castles. Knight e4. Taking. Apparently the best move, but also gives me I saw they were. So I was also considering this, but after takes, I really didn't like this structure, but it's also fine. Takes. And bishop f4. I thought it did nothing because of knight f. And if what if h6? Computer just wants to go for like completely dead draw position. Maybe this is what I should have gone for. So and bishop f4, but what if c6? d5. What is this? Takes? Oh, rook c7. Wow. So sorry. Bishop f4. Even after playing it, I was like, okay, this move really doesn't do too much, and even like got very scary at some point with queen f6. Bishop f4, targeting the pawn. If c6, I have to look a little bit deeper and play d5, which would have been really strong here. So bishop e4, queen d8, rook d1, queen f6, bishop e1, and now takes, e3 doesn't work at all. And I just moved the bishop. I thought this was also good. Takes, king, f1 is best. And if queen takes, I just move and takes. Just up a piece. So rook d1, queen f6, bishop comes back, queen d6, queen c4, d5 was the best move. Wow. Wow. Even though I'm giving away material, but I missed bishop h3 to start with, hitting c7. But if you take, let's just say I move the queen, he has to sack his rook. He has to sack his rook, and if takes, you don't take the queen. You just go, yeah, same position kind of. And if you take the queen, I guess you're just busted, because if pawn takes, and if you take here, there's still a pin. So d5, knight f6, bishop here, bishop takes, I takes, and bishop h3. I thought taking, simplify the game too much. Bishop h3, takes, and a5. Now the pawn's not actually under attack here because the bishop is hitting. So h5 maybe could have played. But now bishop e7. And bishop g4 really was really expecting him to consolidate here. And I think I'm better because I'm down a pawn, but the bishop is gonna. My rook is so active as well. Bishop might be able to win these pawns. But okay, h6, super solid. Bishop e7, and knight g4 was very unexpected. Very unexpected move. I guess he was afraid of taking, but I didn't actually. I don't know, maybe I would have taken, but even here, I don't think. Oh, yeah. Maybe bishop f3 or bishop b3. Because if I take, the rook opens up. Bishop covers this diagonal. Black is better. Bishop here was nice. A nice touch, forcing the rook behind the pawn. Now I take. Material is equal, but this is far from equal. Knight f6, f4, knight f3, king g2. You have to go knight d2, and bishop b3. So king g2, knight e1 was a blunder. Game is decided. All right, well, great games for today. Hope you guys